And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a stream with all your pals at OSP. I am Blue. As always, I'm joined by Red.
What's up?
And Cyan.
Hello, 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 hello.
Woo! We're going to be playing some Uncharted 4 because it is low effort, and by God, I do not need to exert myself more this week. Welcome to our little live stream here. For those of you who have been wondering where the rest of our live streams went, because it seemed like they disappeared, they are not gone. We simply like to periodically clean up our front page by setting our streams to viewable but unlisted. So they're all in the streams playlist. That was a bad error sound. Like the, what?
Oh,
okay.
Just click OK.
Okay, sorry, I just got an error sound on the computer here. But we periodically unlist our streams so they don't clog up all of our video tabs. So they're all available in the live streams playlist if you want to see any of our streams archived later. But we'll just mark them as unlisted so they don't.
Just making sure
make
you
a
haven't
mess.
plummeted to your death.
Our connection seems to be borked.
Oh no, already? It's way too early for borkiness.
God. This is after we spent like 15...
It's not just me!
It's after we spent like 15 goddamn minutes trying to organize this to make it work. Okay, OBS, tell me what I need to know. Streaming is hard.
It might be because of that error sound that you got, because it said you had to update and you just closed it rather than said watch later.
Oh,
so it's probably trying to download something.
I tried to... God, nah.
I like everyone in the chat's just like lag.
know.
Lag. It's like we know. We
are aware.
We too see your lag.
Unless the lag is so bad that no one can actually hear us talking about how we are aware that the lag is bad.
No.
That's actually entirely
The audio is fine. The audio is not lagging, just the game.
Just the game.
Oh, that's actually really good.
That's uncommon. Fuck. Okay.
You know,
open widget.
there's some kind of setting in OBS of like.
Why does it
maybe
say the
per
stream is
second.
healthy?
It was. That was at 3:14. Now it's 3:18, and the stream is error.
Yeah. I am become error.
Oh, God.
Okay.
We thought this would be a fun stream, casual,
Here,
enjoyable.
let me try something.
Clearly it was never meant to be.
I'm gonna go tap the Wi-Fi thing.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna try to figure out where we need to
Light
go on this tower.
Maybe light some incense.
Yeah. This is not an official fundraising stream, as it's been the past couple times when we were raising money for Feeding America. I mean, if you want to donate to them, by all means. But this week
do.
we are focusing our attention on a series of different causes.
Ready?
All pertaining to the everything that's been going on. Suddenly, we're all very much aware of how systemic racism works and how omnipresent it is in American society. So we have links for a couple places that if you want to try to support the fight against outright racism, injustice, in all its various forms, the NAACP has a legal defense fund, which is going to a bunch of different purposes in education, training, legal assistance. ACLU is working on a bunch of stuff. We've also linked a fund to help black communities in America deal with the fallout from COVID because they've been hit especially hard during this whole process. So if you have
is there a path down
any
there?
money to give, it will go. Oh, hello, Cleo. It will go to a good
my
cause if you follow one of those links, or honestly any other of the myriad different places that are kind of compiling lists of how you can donate. New York Magazine has a list of like 115 different charities, all like separated out by locale. Separated out by locale and purpose. So there's a lot of places where a little bit of money can go a long way.
Yeah, the loading video is laggy. Apparently it's
Okay, I've just turned it down significantly.
What a beautiful
audio
slideshow
input
this is.
capture. You turned down the mic.
Oh God.
No!
Casey! Oh, shit! Jesus! You alright? Yeah! Come on! Go to the window! Sam, look out! Move! Jesus! Whoa! Guys love blowing shit up, don't they? Nathan! Down here! Coming! I'm down here! Come on! Look out! Oh, shit! Jesus, that was close. Something tells me they've had enough of us. Really? What gives you that idea?
Yeah.
Down here, quick! Don't wait, just go! Nathan! Nathan!
Although I will,
Get up, brother. We gotta go.
I want to say
Gotta
I
go.
don't want to jinx it,
Now.
but the game is looking a lot smoother on my end.
Shit! Shit! Going down! Assholes. Sam! Come on, up here! Climb up the rope!
It's like, whoa, what? She can have
Ah, great! Come on, come on! What the hell? Run! Whoa! Don't stop! Don't slow down! Don't stop! Don't slow down!
Guys, that's saying
Thanks. Oh, this is nuts! Run!
okay, game audio is too loud, maybe?
Well, hold on.
No, I think they're saying they can only hear me. Yes! I have conquered this stream! It's mine. Alright, well, you guys figure that out. Alright, everyone. So there was, as mentioned, Cyan spent some time in the hospital, and we weren't 100% sure we'd be able to stream today, and the backup plan was that I was gonna read some Shakespeare and do all the voices myself.
Cleo, what
So-
the fuck?
While Blue and Cyan try and get their mic back online, I'm just gonna load up.
Is this
like,
working?
I don't know. Hamlet or
Anything?
something.
Can
we
you hear
won't
me?
know for another 30 seconds.
Red, can you hear me at all? Red.
Yeah. Well, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
don't know if
Discord
chat
call
can
is
hear
fine.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been able to hear you this whole time. I just don't know what the
Oh.
chat's been able to hear.
Great.
Yeah.
At least the Dragon Rush was funny when everything went wrong.
Oh, now they're just saying our mic is really quiet.
Make up
Is
your
this a burger I
mind!
see before me?
Oh wait,
Hey,
no,
that's
we're
what
back.
man.
We're on. We're good.
Okay.
Come let me clutch thee. All right, I could stop doing Hamlet as Launchpad.
Is this a
quick.
microphone I see before me? The gain volume for my hand.
If it makes you feel better,
Actually, that
the
was the
cat
best.
just stole a tortilla chip out of the bag and ran
It's
away.
what she deserves.
No!
Helping
Come
Cleo.
on, the goddamn door open!
It's like my last cat that I had as a kid. Jesus Christ, Nathan. The
Nuts.
last time
Run!
my brain is not working.
Help me get the goddamn
The last time
door
we
open!
had a cat, she would like always want the vegetables.
Maybe I don't shoot these guys, maybe I just run.
No.
Nuts!
No.
Run!
What if streaming today was a mistake?
Help me get the goddamn door open!
Like the universe is conspiring against it.
Keep
Raise
running!
money,
Don't stop!
Oh, man. I'm under a good cause. And the reason that this isn't an official stream is because...
Grenade!
That was funny.
Those
is
take a lot more
because-
setup.
Oh, the game is
Those take
still
more
working.
setup. Also, none of us like track donations in the same way because if you want to donate,
God damn it, they're saying the game's
No,
loud again.
I'm
Guys.
fixing it. I'm fixing it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Shut
Kick his ass.
guys.
Nice shit.
Oh man, I was rewatching the My Immortal stream, and there are so many comments on there that's
All right,
like
let's try
everything's
this
too
again.
quiet, and I'm like, turn up your volume. Oh god.
Game is very loud. Guys, you have to understand, we know. It just, you guys are on like a minute delay.
Yeah. Trust me. By the time you've said it, we've gone for a minute.
Okay, wait. Hey, Nadine. Great to see you again. Okay, mango.
Yeah, Chad is just
What's she
saying,
on about?
game's too loud, game's too loud. Guys, trust me.
safe word.
We fucking know, alright?
Are you always this clever?
We've heard your messages.
Once the first 5 of you say it, it's okay, alright, fix it.
Audio. Well, I was gonna say we can take the. Oh, we already have the effects turned down by half.
Have my moments.
Streaming was
Yes. You and your brother have proven yourselves the more capable treasure hunters on the island. Shame we're not on the same side.
this will be behind us.
Hey, there's
Just enjoy
still time.
the game.
Trust a Drake.
They're saying you're a little
I'm not
quiet,
fond
Cyan.
of
Wait a
that.
minute,
Hey,
excellent connection.
Let's talk.
Stream. Oh god, no! Why would you do that? Okay.
Okay, that was a bit rougher than expected. Just see myself out.
After everything, you think I'm just going to let you walk away?
Oh, stop. Oh, it's like reverse ASMR.
That'd be the wise thing to do. Oh, come on, Nadine, really?
Oh, yeah.
You know you're a badass and all, but
With terrible
There's two of
ASMR,
us.
that's right.
I don't think my men are on their way here right
I haven't
now.
been able to, like, work up...
All I have to do is buy some time.
I haven't been able to work up the nerve
Let's
to
see if I
watch
can
that
finish it
video with
myself.
headphones because I feel like that might just kill me where I sit.
damn it.
Okay, they're saying YouTube...
I'm tired of this island. I'm tired of your brother. And I'm tired of you.
I know you
Okay,
don't.
alright. Alright, sorry. You know.
Do that.
Nathan! Can we just talk about this?
I don't think so.
Yep.
Now hold on.
No.
Yeah, Sam subscribes to the school of if I put my fist in their face, they will stop bothering me if I do it enough times.
Hang in there, Sam. I'm coming. Almost there, Sam.
Nadine!
Yeah.
You're fast.
Have you guys
You're not
turned
that
up your
fast.
volume by any chance? It
forget
sounds
about
like
it.
I'm kind of louder.
Come on,
than
we
you
gotta get
guys.
out of here before they... Shit. Whoa. Everybody just...
I can turn down my
calm
game.
down, okay?
Well, this is interesting. Nate?
Well, we can adjust that.
Samuel?
Put your guns down! All of you!
No.
Woo,
Rafe,
party
this
on.
guy's on edge.
Oh, don't worry about him, Nadine.
Oh, wait,
These
I
guys
think I
don't
actually
kill
got to
anyone
this
in
part of
cold
the
blood.
game.
It's just not their
We're
style.
back in
You wanted
Uncharted
to bet her
territory
life
for
on
a
that?
day, as it were.
Go ahead, then. Shoot her.
Also, we're past 1,000 concurrent
Sam.
viewers.
I
Hey-o.
die, you both die.
So be it.
Not another step!
You mean... like this?
Sam, put the gun down.
I warned you.
Do it!
It's done!
Really?
Fire! Don't shoot!
Once more, I conquer the
Put it down.
stream. Let me just load up that Hamlet text I was looking for.
It's done.
Alrighty, here we go.
Don't worry,
We
Nate.
got Uncharted
It's not
visuals.
their style.
Just,
I didn't think he had it in him.
Okay, alright. Game too loud. allowed no blue or cyan, and then just my dialogue. All right, this is
Samuel,
wild.
You
None
okay?
of our streams have been this crazy.
I guess you knew this moment was coming, huh?
Hey! Come on, man.
The
Already
universe
got us.
gave
Take
us
it
so
easy.
many outs. Like, I got like 4 hours of
Come on,
sleep,
now, you're
and then there was
businessman.
the
Let's just
situation you guys had to deal
work
with.
out a deal.
Just like,
Oh, a
maybe
deal.
we should, no.
Love to hear what you have in mind.
It'll be fun.
You can go ahead, I'm listening.
You know what? I think that's just kind of sad at this point.
Right.
Oh no.
You want to find
Okay.
Avery's treasure?
I can't even tell if I can hear you
We'll
guys.
help you find it.
They're just saying all hail Red.
In
which
exchange,
is...
I let
Oh,
you live.
great. Okay. So, folks, here's the
Yeah.
impromptu reading of Hamlet, Prince of
That
Denmark, where
and a
everyone is
small
my
cut.
Launchpad McQuack impression.
The gauchos
Who's
on this
there?
guy.
Just
Nay,
enough
answer
to get
me.
him
Stand and
his
unfold
freedom,
yourself.
okay?
Long live the
His
king.
freedom.
Bernardo?
Yeah.
You must
Did hard
come.
time.
No, you
Our
come most
time. And the
carefully
guy who
upon
broke
your
him out,
hour.
Hector Alcazar,
What's up?
he owes him a lot of
No,
money.
I was just
You
laughing
sassing my
at you.
performance,
Hell,
Blue?
are you
No, not at all.
Hector
No,
Alcazar
I
died in a
wouldn't
shootout
dare.
in Argentina like 6 months ago.
'Tis now struck 12.
I'm
Get
the
thee
one
to
that
bed,
got Samuel
Francisco. For this relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart. Have you had quiet guard? Not a mouse stirring. God, I forgot how boring the early parts were. Hold on, let me
Wow.
scroll down.
Hopefully,
What did he tell you?
now that I've re-added our audio
Sam,
channel for the third
What kind
time,
of story did you cook up?
hopefully
Alcazar?
this makes it a
Really?
little better.
You lied? You lied to your baby brother?
We're wasting time.
Just a second.
Okay, well,
Okay, well, we'll find
Oh,
out.
you can hear
Thing
us
is, Nate,
cool.
I never
Oh,
stopped
thank goodness.
for Avery's treasure. I just
now.
kept
Also,
running
fun
into
fact,
these
you
dead
sound
ends.
surprisingly similar to the auto
And then I
the
hear
male
their dear old
character
Samuel
voices, so I
Drake,
thought it was just
an authority
echoing for a
on
second.
Oh.
He's alive.
Well, all
and
right
someone.
then.
Hello,
Well,
it is me, Gruff White Man 12, here to audition for the role of Gruff.
there
White
was
Man
no
3.
breakout.
Yes,
I
hello. This
bribed
is
the
my.
prison
The
warden.
thing is, I
Your
watched
brother just
Emperor's
waltzed
New
right out the
Groove the
front
other
gate.
night, so I've got like Kronk just on
Oh,
top
Spent
of
the
my
last 2
head
years
now.
tracking down second
Who's
sins.
good?
Oh yeah,
Poison.
poison.
Poison
Who's
specifically.
poison? The poison specifically to
Did
kill
it all with
Kuzco.
me.
Who was the character in
yeah.
Journey to the
Poison.
West who I
Bullshit.
made a
Oh.
Kronk impression?
Sam, care to refute?
Bull King?
Oh fuck. I think it was the
Nate.
Bull Demon King.
Yeah, the Bull
He's
Demon
actually
King.
he shows up again later, so
Oh,
make
yes.
sure you can still do that.
Avery's treasure was ours. It was always ours.
I left my life for you.
Doing a taco voice, which...
Yeah, that was different.
Hey, look, Nate, if it's any consolation, he duped me too.
Yeah.
He pulled a Houdini on me, he brought
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and that old man back into the mix, and I cannot lie,
Patrick
Sam, that
Warburton was
really
one of the best voices
pissed
ever.
me off.
I didn't notice until
But,
I was actually watching some classic college
all behind
humor,
us
but
now.
he's in like one of those sketches just randomly. He plays like
You
a
don't
doctor.
deserve it.
You do? Last I
Yes.
checked, we're all a bunch of thieves digging around
That's
where we
the-
shouldn't.
You're basic.
Rafe,
What?
one way or another, end it. Or I will.
You're saying the
Well,
game's
you heard
loud
the
again.
lady.
It's just
Hey,
never
you missed
ends.
one clue. You can kiss that treasure goodbye. You said it yourself. Keep running into dead ends. Why don't you face it, Rafe? You need us.
No, you're right.
Sheen and like the safety precautions is just
You're half
Patrick
right.
Warburton. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here, Patrick?
I just need Sam.
Wait,
Patrick,
you're making a
what?
mistake. You
Don't listen!
Patrick Warburton is probably middling at best, but you know, it's like that other college humor skit about white boys doing impressions of things. Everyone thinks they're great.
God.
Every white boy has a fantastic Bane until they listen back to it and realize, oh no.
Since we're doing
Nate.
dramatic scenes,
Hey,
can we just
Nate!
turn the volume down to 5 for everything?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Forever cursed. Audio is forever cursed.
Oh no, Nathan! It's fine. He just fell 300 feet into water.
It's okay, his luck's just a little
I mean,
down.
that's what I just saw. Yeah, yeah.
All right, now we get to the dumbest part of the game, which part of me wants to skip, but eh.
You know what? I think this is where I actually
There it
kind of
is.
stopped my playthrough.
Yeah, because it's
wonder
boring
why
and
I
not
was here
fun.
anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, cool.
But this is
Oh,
definitely the-
spicy
Someone
take
said
alert.
props to Red for
scoping the
keeping
place
the
out for the
stream
past few
somewhat under
days.
control, to Cyan for wonderful tech support,
Everyone's home.
and Blue for being the best gamer.
Aw, thanks.
Aw, thank you.
You didn't have to lie to make me feel
Everyone
better,
gets
but I
it.
do appreciate
No.
it.
Banana Havoc Ness Gardner. You great.
This is humongous.
Everyone gets an accolade.
Where do we even start?
Oh god.
Can Cyan be the best
Find my
napper?
way in.
That's a lie. I'm actually a really poor napper.
Cleo is a great napper. We
Allegedly,
installed a
it's all-
hammock on the
think this
window
place has
for
an alarm?
Cleo. It's like little suction cups that stick on. It is magnificent. I'll just be
sure the
like,
front door
I'll,
will
you
be
know,
locked.
I'll walk around somewhere after doing some work, and I'm like, oh, where's Cleo? Oh, she's taking a thick nap over there on that hammock, living her best life.
It was worth a try.
I do love that they programmed front door as an option for sneaking into this house.
I do think
Oh wait, I remember this part.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's up?
I do think the audio is fine. Is it perfect? No. Am I gonna fix it? No.
Also no.
You can hear everyone. That means it's good enough.
I'm gonna turn up the brightness because I'm having a hard time seeing.
How
This
many
game's
times
just
can we
nice.
adjust the settings in this game?
Cool. This TV has. Oh, there we go. Now I can see. If any of you think that this is too bright, turn your monitor down. I don't care. You control brightness.
Your words mean
That one's on you.
your words mean nothing to me.
All right. Can we climb up here? Yeah. No. Damn it. But this is the part of the game where they interrupt all of the. Oh. I should have just gone to where my brother was. Well, if I could have seen him earlier, I would have done that.
Let's look around back, huh?
It's classic Naughty Dog design where they modulate pace by alternating actions of
Hey, Nathan,
high
look.
drama with fairly quiet.
open
Is
window.
it sun? Oh, no,
yeah.
that's just that's what happens when I turn the
Follow
brightness
me.
up to 9.
Also,
Okay.
I
Give me your hand.
appreciate the people wanting to know more about why I was in the hospital. I don't feel like discussing a ton of medical stuff. Just know I'm fine.
She's fine. Thank you
Yeah,
for asking.
yeah.
Thanks for asking. I'm fine now. I'm just very tired. Who's the little curly hair wonder boy?
This is good boy Nate.
Baby Nate?
Yeah, baby Nate.
Baby Nate.
It's
Baby
baby Drath
Nate.
and Nate.
the Nate.
Baby Nate. Do, 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 do,
Oh
do. Okay.
God, get that shit out of here.
Yeah. Sorry. It compelled me.
What I was saying was Naughty Dog likes to modulate the pace of their games with like alternating moments of high tension with the slow, quiet, moments of just kind of investigating and existing in space. The problem is this one goes on for way too
brought a
long,
spare.
and it is not the best integrated into the story at large.
So,
I remember
are we
this
looking for any
sequence just
particular
kind of
room?
feeling like we
just
threw
keep
this
an eye
in
out
because
for any
we
books,
built this really
journals,
complicated set piece we wanted
and
you to
kind of research
explore,
papers.
and
Yeah.
then like it's like a Shaggy Dog story, right? You do all this stuff, and then you get to the thing, and then that thing happens,
Yeah.
and you're like, what was the point of this? And now we got to get out of here, and I'm like, what the. What? Just because
Yeah.
you're exploring Xavier's School for the Gifted over here, that doesn't mean I don't want a plot to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Amy Hennig in the definitive playthrough of Uncharted 2 with our boys Sam and Nate. What are the names? Nolan North and Troy Baker. She was talking
You
about
forgot
how
Nolan North and Troy Baker.
it's been a day. Sorry, that came out a little too harsh. But she was
Our
talking
boys
about
Sam
how
and Nate.
the level designers can be prolific in building stuff. So it's like, yeah, we have a section of game that we intend to take about, maybe an hour of playtime, and they built like 3 hours of game that we have to kind of sift through and decide what we want to do with. Obviously, this is just my own biases of places where the game gets too slow for too long.
Nope.
But
It's not
I
gonna
feel
be
like they
inside.
got a little carried away with
Boxes
the
are
scope
filled
of
with
this.
old traveling and camping
with
equipment.
this part of the game. But anyway,
There are some games where I feel like the creators didn't really want to make a game. Actually, they wanted to make like a show or a movie, and
yeah.
like I know Uncharted was like the first of its kind to really okay. I mean, technically, Uncharted basically just took a whole bunch of stuff from Lara Croft, but they were the
Yeah.
first ones that really made it like cinematic by design. Like Lara
Yes.
Croft was a video game. It was
Yes,
fun because it was
definitely.
a video game. And then Uncharted, that's the one that gives you like deep characters
Down we
and
go.
complex plots and stuff,
there
and
it is.
more than just the MacGuffin. And you're like, wow, that's nuts. And it
So,
does
how do
feel
we
like
find
you're
them?
playing through an action movie or like a mini series or
Yeah.
something. And then they did it like
Joe has
more
used that
times, and it was
off-white leather
fine.
binding.
It's fine.
Yeah, I know,
But
but
sometimes you're like,
such a
would
large
this actually
place.
work better as like a
Find a
show?
needle in a
And there are a
haystack.
few places where like where the ludonarrative dissonance kind of makes it clear that if me doing that wasn't an option, then maybe this shouldn't have been an interactive storytelling.
Sam, I think I found one.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's not quite on the level of press these buttons in this order to not die during this cool escape, but it is to a certain extent on the level of you have to move through this specific path and do this specific thing to advance the plot.
Yeah.
Which means essentially it is the linear plot where you have to do the legwork. And in that case, it's like, all right, if I have to replay this level like 17 times because I keep dying and Nathan Drake is not supposed to die, couldn't you just show it to me? I mean, how many people would watch a show based on Uncharted? I mean, a lot of people would. It would be awesome.
That Nathan Fillion fan movie from 2 years ago was like, yeah, I'd watch days of this if I had the option to.
I would. It would be great. And then like, oh man, I think the strongest example of
your house?
Okay, you didn't want to make a game, you wanted to make a show or a comic is definitely Overwatch. Where
well, no, because that would require they actually did anything with the plot that they wrote.
That's true, but that's the thing, like, they have a plot, they have all these characters, they have these cool dynamics and backstories, and then they're like, now it's TF2, but you can play as a sexy lady.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
Hey, Sam.
Or whatever.
Yeah, no,
You're crazy, but
David
this looks
Cage
like
is
a
definitely
Moon
the most
Dynasty.
guilty of that with Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and the
budge.
most recent one, which
do it
Detroit
together.
become a bridge.
Detroit become human.
Yeah.
Hey.
Where it's like he even puts the A like 137 Easter egg in there, like he thinks he's making a Disney movie. It's like, dude, come on, like.
David Cage, come on, man.
Keep it to yourself, you know.
Some sort of sarcophagus.
Don't pretend you're something you're not. I'm being way too harsh on this stream.
So place
Jeez.
is filled with sarcophagus.
But there, Mark Brown.
Listen, man, it's been a day.
Yeah, Mark Brown, Game Maker's Toolkit, has a lot of videos about countering ludonarrative dissonance and like fail states in games where, you know, in a lot of games it's like, oh, if you fail, you get put back a minute and a half and have to do the same thing over again until eventually you make it right. There are a lot of games that do very interesting things with the mechanic of death.
Let's go find out.
So
Yeah, I think
it's neat
there's
to see
somewhere
the
it's
other
like...
ways in which that can happen. Ooh, this is a Roman sarcophagus.
Huh. This one's Roman.
Oh yeah, look at that, Roman. Look at me. I know what the
Maybe
fuck
fourth
I'm
century.
talking about.
Yay! But yeah, I think there's like a few games, like RPGs,
you recognize that one?
where if you lose a character who's plot relevant, like the game will basically be like, okay, you're now in a
seen
broken
something like it before.
timeline. It can only go bad from here. You can keep playing in this timeline if you want, or you can restart from here and the timeline will heal itself.
Husband and
And it's
wife.
like, okay, you know what?
Buried together.
That's like a 2-sentence explanation for why I should reload for my last save, and I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes it's just like, oops, Nathan died. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Roll back the clock.
Oh shit, Nathan! And then it's like, you know, so it's like,
Nathan.
Nathan! Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Cyan, did you just say ahar Nady? Love it. Yeah. A lot of cool stuff in here. One of the books upstairs was The Relics of Tokugawa Ieyasu, first shogun of Edo period Japan, as seen in my Meiji restoration video. Man, I'm still coming off
like, this
the
is
high
another
of
one.
getting failed assassins to trending. That was great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Ancient Persepolis.
I just want.
Ooh, cool.
Ooh. But yeah, this is such a
believe this
carefully
is an
modeled
ancient
house. Like,
Mesopotamian
you are
washer
meant to
dryer
explore
combo.
this and look at the visual storytelling, which is very impressive. But what do you do here? And the
Yeah.
answer is not a lot.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
Nate,
guess it's
check me
supposed
out.
to be like a
Now, who am I?
formative period in their life where it's like this is when Nate really gets his
Dr.
taste
Livingston,
for,
come on.
adventure and learning about history and like
Nice.
relics and stuff. But then it's like, I mean, this is such a non-thing. They broke into this lady's house and they looked at all her cool stuff and Nate was like, this is awakening something in me. But what are we doing here, you know? We're just like
Yeah.
over his shoulder looking
I
at all
wouldn't
this
give
cool
to get
stuff
an
like,
invite
sure
like
is
this.
cool, I guess.
Ah, yes, a menu.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of like, did it need to be this big? I get what it was going for. Did it need to be this big? That's
Yeah.
why
And
I'm
again,
like,
it's beautiful,
yeah.
but still.
where are you
I'm
going?
fiercely critical of when stories are too
Go
long.
anywhere in the world.
I firmly believe that any book longer than 100 pages
Anywhere?
needs to earn its
Anywhere.
runtime, and most do not.
Well,
Like, I was reading through, like, Cyan and I were doing our book club. We did the Iliad, we did
go.
Beowulf. Beowulf is the perfect length.
India.
It's so good.
visit
It's
the
like
Taj
3
Mahal.
hours, boom, easy, you got it. But
and
we
round
were
she
reading
goes.
through Ovid's Metamorphoses, which
Soviet
works
Union.
best as a collection
Let's
of
go to
stories.
Moscow.
It is hard
might
to
be a
read
tad
that
difficult
thing
to get
through
in.
because it's all like
I'm
different
trying to see the
stories.
red
But
square,
Ovid
though.
is so obsessed with the idea of producing
try
a
again.
complete history of the world from the creation of the universe to the death of Caesar
English.
that he doesn't like stop to take
Sure
a break
would be
anywhere
cool to
or
see
like
Windsor Castle.
do a lot of
Right,
transitions
Sam?
between stuff. So it's like I'm reading about something and then
Don't
something
look
in
at
the
me,
middle of
it's
an
not my
entirely
fault
different
you weren't
story. It's
born
like
yet.
why
Not
did
like
you
I
do this? You
remember
could have
much of it
just
anyways.
you could have segmented this more. Ovid,
It wasn't
buddy.
that-
What, can I get out of flipping this globe?
Okay.
I literally cannot exit.
You're
Okay, one
trapped.
last spin.
You're trapped
Brazil.
in the globe.
Brazil.
Hey, now you're talking. All kinds of
but,
undiscovered
Ovid
places
is
in the
not meant
rainforest.
to be read through. It's
And
it's
all
best as a
kinds
collection
of
stories.
undiscovered
Ooh,
tribes with
that's,
poison darts.
Shiny.
A Roman set of armor, not
That too.
actually what anyone would actually wear. It looks like some. Well, let's see what they
Hey,
say.
check it
this
out.
Oh, I get the helmet. Yeah.
But that does remind me, well, first of all, the Beowulf thing is funny because Beowulf is the perfect length, but the actual story of Beowulf is about like 1/4 of
I
that.
just read
Yeah.
this one.
Because it's like, and lo, Beowulf did this thing, and he took off his armor and he kicked
kind of
Grendel's
incredible.
ass. And then
Beowulf, son of
Grendel-
Ecgtheow.
Western woman to
Yeah,
visit
but then
Lhasa.
it's
Take a
like
shot.
Beowulf, son of this guy who did this, and then that was the son of that guy who did this thing, and over here was that, and by the way, here's how this giant mound of gold got to be here, and it's
It's
like,
like
whoa,
fertility
such a
totems.
fleshed out narrative.
It makes you
Sorry, go ahead.
realize. I was gonna say it makes you realize where Tolkien got that Thorin, son of Thrain, son of Thror.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, though,
This tool's
like
as big as the one in
Tolkien
the
really did a
orphan's
good
dining
job of
hall.
like getting across that weighty feel of like
Mm-hmm.
this
take
eons of
much.
history and like pride and familial like heritage and just he was so,
Judging by the
he was so good
artifacts,
at getting
they
across the
certainly had enough
poetry
money for
of
it.
Old English and
Yeah.
Old Norse.
Yeah.
I mean,
Looks like
Thorin,
it's
son
been
of
a long
Thrain,
time
son of
since the
Thror,
last
has
one,
such an
though.
interesting rhythm to it that it just sticks with you. Which I
wonder if they
really
still
like.
work.
Like honestly, everyone tries to ape Tolkien, but Tolkien was aping from the greats, man. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That hard right
Pirates of
turn, but
Arabia.
Dave Filoni, or no, it was who was the guy who directed? John Favreau. John Favreau was talking about
Those are not
his.
the same person.
No, John Favreau was talking about directing a Star Wars movie because I think he's attached to direct something, and he was talking about how he didn't want to use Star Wars as an inspiration, but he wanted to go to the things that first inspired George Lucas for inspiration, rather than just
Yep.
like becoming. Oh, your device will restart to update outside of active hours. Leave it on and plugged in. Okay, cool. Sorry.
That's fine.
Shouldn't be an issue.
Where
This
some
is
people
active.
just get so like into, oh yes, this thing
Samurai.
that we have is so cool. Let's
You
make a
recognize the
super
crest?
self-referential thing. No, I want. Oh,
Hollyhock
no,
leaves are,
I'm getting the Centurion.
Don't tell me,
helmet
don't
back.
tell
Give
me.
that.
Tokugawa clan.
No! Ah, damn it. Okay,
Why?
fine. I guess I'm a samurai now. Fucking Nathan
I am
Lee
a
Drake.
samurai.
Poor people could not afford to hire samurai.
what's-
Did not hire samurai.
What's interesting, sorry, about the Tolkien thing, or the inspiration for going to the
that a
source that
letter?
inspired the original
What's
author
left of
rather
it?
than,
Yeah.
yeah.
Someone wanted
I
to
mean,
buy their
you can
stuff.
see that in stuff like
Guess they
The
said no.
Mandalorian, where
you
they were like,
imagine being
yeah,
the one to
George Lucas was
actually
inspired
uncover these
50-50 by
things?
sword and sorcery and 50-50 by, like,
Must
you
be
know,
something,
Japanese
right?
action movies of Kurosawa fame. And then Mandalorian is just like, we took Kurosawa and we put it in color and we made it in space. Isn't that fun? This episode is just the Seven Samurai again, but there's only 2 of them. And it's like, okay, cool, I'll take it. Whatever, man. I had a good time.
Yeah.
But that does remind me, actually. So Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, who created the Narnia series, were, you know, contemporaries and, like, friends, sort of, well, frenemies. Like, they'd make fun of each other in their books.
Yeah. A brotherly
I don't know if it's-
relationship.
But apparently, yeah, I heard that Treebeard is Tolkien making fun of C.S. Lewis, which is why he takes
your
fucking forever to
dialogue
get anywhere
section?
important.
Low. Is it too quiet?
No, opposite.
Oh.
What's
that's
going on?
Just dialogue is too loud.
Great.
Ah.
Yeah.
Get down there.
Get down there to 5.
Okay.
Get
Someone's
back
like,
to 5.
someone's like, I'm sorry, it's hard listening to 2 conversations at once. I'm like, oh, how loud is the conversation? Oh, a little too loud. Okay.
Whoops.
Whoops,
yeah.
daisies. Excuse me, I'm a man
But,
of many tastes. Well, your brother just
Uh-oh.
likes being a weeb, so.
Going it alone.
Visual
life.
gag.
But yeah, Seven Samurai, Mandalorian, all that jazz.
C.S. Lewis and Tolkien.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because they were contemporary, they were drawing on the same sources to both produce these 2 different works of fantasy, which is interesting
pick out your
because
favorite book here.
you can actually like. Obviously, Narnia is a very different
general
feeling
history
fantasy
of the
world.
robberies and
It's
murders of the most
technically more urban
notorious
fantasy.
pirates.
It's got well, it's kind of separate world urban fantasy. Whatever. But there's like points where they're drawing on the same sources in completely different ways. There's a later book that has just a full homage to Fafnir, where Eustace or something, one of the shittier secondary characters steals a piece of gold from a dragon horde and turns into a dragon. And that is just fully the plot of Fafnir. That's how Fafnir was created. He was like a dwarf, and then he killed a guy and stole a bunch of cursed gold, and then he turned into a dragon. So, but also Tolkien is drawing on Fafnir and Beowulf together to like kind of produce the characterization of Smaug and his other dragons. And it's just interesting because most modern fantasy stuff just ripped straight from Tolkien. Yeah. And Tolkien was taking straight from, you know, Old Norse, Old English, stuff like that. But then you can also kind of compare like what contemporary fantasy authors were doing.
Journals about everything in the world.
where Tolkien focused more on the characterization of the dragon as a greed-based monster, a symbol. Oh god.
Oh wow.
Have I told you about this? Tolkien has like very specific thoughts on what defines a real dragon. He
Yeah,
has, like,
I read the script.
Oh, that's right. You did read my script. Well, the TLDR is that Tolkien said that there were plenty of like dragon-like monsters in fiction, but the only two real dragons were the Beowulf dragon and Fafnir, because they were big old dragon monster thingies, and also they were very important to the themes of the story. Because the one in Beowulf is kind of like, oh, it's the inevitability of mortality, and Fafnir is just the embodiment of greed and like hubris and stuff, which is kind of what ends up screwing over Siegfried after he kills him. So, and then he creates Smaug, who has the exact same characterization. It's like, oh, he's this embodiment of greed. He's just as destructive as the Beowulf dragon, but just as intelligent as Fafnir. And his arc of being destructive and like hubrisy and greedy turns into Thorin's arc of his downfall. And it's like, oh, that's cool. And then the movies were like, that's boring. Let's just call it dragon sickness.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, lots of dragons. Good stuff.
All dragons are valid.
Not all dragons are good boys.
Not all dragons are good boys.
No. Some of them are good girls.
Hey!
Hey! The video's lagging again. The audio's apparently still fine, but we're back in the slideshow zone.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, you're not missing anything. I wish that I could figure out where to go.
The video's choppy, but
this is a real great place for the game to offer a hint system. But just gotta look at all these individual doors in a dark room. Game design.
Did you run past the door? What's behind those boxes, Steve?
Another door, but I can't get to the handle for this one, so I don't think I can do
Toothless is best dragon. I thought so. There's a Facebook page called Toothless, the Friendly Neighborhood Dragon. Wonderful page, by the way.
It's making me see a fucking
as soon as you said Toothless is best dragon, I'm like, she is the best dragon, and I realized you meant probably from
I can't fit in there.
the movie.
Can you handle
the movie?
Are you kidding me?
The movie.
Okay.
The movie.
Let's talk about bad game design. This entire section of the game is based on the premise of you are walking through a house, but going into that air vent requires that you climb up to it. Nothing in this section of the game...
Bookcase.
The... bookcase.
Chat's saying go to the bookcase.
Oh, go to the bookcase. Nothing in this section of the game is even slightly priming you to think about climbing the space. Cleo, what the fuck did you knock over? Cleo, get off the sink!
I'll get it.
Asshole cat. No, she's off.
Okay, well, I need to get more water anyway.
Also, I appreciate the bookcase hint. There are Mondo bookcases in this house.
Looking at something in the pirate.
You know what?
Pirate book room. Okay.
You know what could have elevated this game? If you could climb everything that you would normally be able to climb, like the molding on the walls, the bookcases, outside of the stairs. I mean, who hasn't wanted to like just go full like monkey bars in their own home?
Yeah.
In this, I'm pretty sure this is exactly the same mansion they use for every single X-Men movie. By the way, it has that vibe.
Okay, bookcase pirate stuff. Hint, yes, please. That one? Ugh.
Yeah.
What part of any of this was...
This is the other problem.
Bad game design.
This is kind of something that I remember being a problem with Portal 2, where because they had so much more processing power. Hey, but because
Cleo
they
was
had
trying to steal
so
the
much more
cheese, it's
processing
fine.
power, they would
I'm
model
making mac
these
and cheese for dinner
huge.
because that's what I want.
Yeah.
Still works.
Oh,
Sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
what is happening?
Now smile, alright?
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out why the viewership dropped.
Oh, what heck? Maybe it's because the stream's
just the video.
bad.
Video is
Don't lose it.
Oh wait, no, everyone's back.
Okay.
That was weird. Maybe a few people lagged out. Anyway, oh god, what was I talking about? Right, Portal 2.
Portal 2.
They had so much more processing power, so they would model these like huge, beautiful environments with like one little section of portalable wall hidden in it somewhere, usually lit up by a spotlight that you had to
Yeah.
find in Portal 2. And it was like, okay, this is fine, this is whatever, but like, you're giving me a lot of stuff to look at and very little to do in it.
Yeah.
And this whole thing has like that, but also there's so much more stuff to look at that it's
Yup.
just kind of overwhelming.
And it's
like, well,
dark.
which of these gazillion things can I actually deal with? Which of these bookshelves is the one I'm supposed to suddenly be able to climb? What's happening?
Okay.
Yeah.
Up here.
Yeah, it's
Hey, don't
climbing,
fall.
which is an important part of how you train a player to go through a space. And this version of the game it's slow. You open boxes. That's the core gameplay loop of like look around at stuff, pick a piece of paper up, flip it over, read it if you feel like wasting more of your time. And then it's like it confuses which parts of the Uncharted like gameplay formula you're actually asking the player to act on, and which is like, no, this is a different part of the game, you see. Whereas like in
Yeah,
other
yeah.
parts of like Uncharted 2, like the iconic Naughty Dog does pacing by intercutting big explosions with quiet thing. It's like you're in this, village in Tibet, just walking around because you're injured and can't do anything. So the fact that Nate is
see you on the other
visibly
side.
super hurt
Okay.
makes. Oh, are you gonna make me puzzle
It's a good
through the
thing I'm
air
not
vents,
claustrophobic.
Naughty Dog? It primes you based on the content of the story to not try and climb stuff because in the game you are hurt, which explains why you can't do any of that stuff. But this, it's like,
Right.
yeah, Nate's young and he can climb. So, anyway.
I mean, at this point, I'm just looking at all this stuff he's
Alright.
climbing on and being like, how firmly mounted to
Okay.
the wall are those things?
I'm in.
Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you could just climb up on that antique
hold on.
halberd and that
Jeez.
ship's wheel.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Here.
Watch out for
You're a
tetanus,
spry
Nate.
kid. You probably only weigh 10, 15 pounds, I'm sure.
It's locked
Yeah.
from this side too.
Again, sorry about the lag. I really wish there was something we could do about it, but internet's gonna be how internet's gonna be. Can I not?
I'm just glad the audio is coming through crisp.
Yeah.
Like, that's genuinely kind of impressive to me.
Can I open the door? Ah, yes, looking at pills.
Lots of
What pills
painkillers.
are
Codeine.
they? Ooh,
Yeah.
that's the rough stuff.
But that's the thing. This is like, oh, it's a masterclass in visual storytelling, but what story are you telling me? You're telling me about this character who we're gonna meet for about 3 minutes, and then, stuff's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, does anyone care about that? I mean,
Eh.
it's whatever,
Well,
whatever.
we'll see soon
maybe some
enough.
people are experiencing this for the first time. I'll keep quiet. But, you know,
Yeah.
it's
I'm
like,
experiencing this for the
I
first
was
time.
waiting for this lady to be relevant, and then she wasn't.
Yup. Yeah.
I think it's like, it
Why?
is. I think the purpose of this is to like narratively illustrate the difference between Nathan and Sam. Like, Nathan is looking at all this stuff and being like, "Wow, oh man, this is like the life." If
Anything?
only. But also, she's like alone,
Didn't
and
see
that's
any
kind of
journals.
sad. I sure hope I don't end up being a cool, badass
still
world
got the
traveling
other locked
adventurer, but
door,
also
so-
isolating
Come
myself
on.
from my loved ones. That would suck. And then Sam's in the background, like, "Woo, let's steal some shit."
Yeah.
So, you know, it's meant to get across like Nathan is a good boy and Sam is a rapscallion, but then you're just kind of like, we know Sam just betrayed us and we fell off a cliff.
Yeah. Ugh.
Ugh.
Come on.
Like if they'd shown this earlier in the game when we were still like, oh yeah, we're gonna help out Sam, a good boy, and this was like a warning to the audience, like, oh man, but this old lady, she ended up alone. I sure hope we don't end up alone, but we are pushing away Elena. But oh, Sam, maybe he's in trouble. But we already like all the twists have already untwisted themselves, and now they show us this. And
Yeah.
like Nathan is like passed out with a concussion and being like, oh, I should have seen the signs, and it's like you could foreshadow this earlier. I don't know.
Yeah,
you could just
there's-
transplant this section to earlier in the game.
Have you seen the?
Anyway.
No, I don't want that helmet.
Look at
Or you
these.
do. Compass and dot- have you
Compass,
seen
sundial.
Daredevil season 3?
Wait, maybe?
Okay.
Wasn't that the really good one?
Yes, it is incredibly well done. It's so damn good. The quality direction is wild, and it's like, you know, AAA big budget, you know, action show. It's so well done. Like the way they show how the power dynamic of a conversation changes, and they convey that through like shot composition is nuts.
Yeah.
But the 7th episode out of 8 is a flashback to Karen's backstory, which could have been put anywhere else in the season except right before, like, when stuff happens. It's tempting to use big moments of drama as like, and now, while you're wondering what's going to happen here, we're going to go to something else. It's like, no! Don't do that!
Put the camera back right now, young man.
Yeah. Where the...
I do remember that. I think it's in a weird place in my mind because I think I watched all of season 3 while I was like getting driving lessons, which was a very weird time in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do remember that, and I remember the Karen backstory, and it's like, you know, if you wanted to show us this and give us the context, like I know she was kind of an enigma earlier, and maybe there was the question of how much should we trust her because we thought she was helpless, and then she fucking shot that guy in season 1, and we're like, oh my goodness, is she actually cool and badass? And then they show us like, no, she was just kind of a hot mess, and that's why she knows how guns work. And you're like, oh, okay, all right, whatever. Why now? Why now?
All right, game, give me something to work with here. Well, I'm glad we didn't skip this because it's a very illustrative conversation. Oh, no. What? Of course, that one tiny key we picked up is... man. I mean, granted, if I wasn't trying to carry a conversation to run a stream, I would be better at playing this game. That's an understandable part of the streaming experience, is that you're trying to do several things at once. It is not conducive to good gameplay unless you are Smallland, who is a gaming god. There's this one channel called Smallland who does like Breath of the Wild speedruns and like crazy. He did a Nuzlocke in Breath of the Wild. It was insane. But you know, the rare genre of like people who play video games online for a living and are good at playing video games online for a living, unlike, you know, people who think that the idea of content is stream. And I only do that when the stream breaks, so that's my excuse. Man, I am being so fucking aggressive on this stream. Oh, jeez, this reminds me of the person who said, Blue, you can't be threatening, you'd slam a door and then apologize.
Well, what's funny is, like, you just had a really, really rough day, and, like, the worst that you're doing is just, like, some slightly harsh criticism of some questionable game designs in a game that you otherwise quite like.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry for getting harsh, everybody. It's just been a really rough 24 hours, and...
You also got woken up
sometimes
early
I just gotta
to
let
feed
it
the
all out,
cat.
you know?
Yeah.
Because usually I wake up early to feed the cat and then kind of like go back to sleep. But I wasn't here last night because hospital.
Yeah.
So that meant Blue had to get up to feed the cat at 4:30
It was like
in the morning.
4:30, Cleo's scratching at the couch, and I'm like, alright, asshole, let's give you some
She
food.
saw that I wasn't there and panicked and was like, okay, how do I get Blue to wake up?
Alright.
I was nearly awake by then. We could have had an overlap, my bad.
Yeah. We play a fun game of, I've just woken up. Is Red still awake? Let's see.
Yeah. Odds are good.
Usually not. Usually not. Sometimes, though. Sometimes.
Red's
Usually
still up
not by now,
sometimes when I wake up.
No.
Yeah,
Sometimes on the
yeah.
days where
I
you're
mean,
just like on fire with like comic pages or something, it's like, oh, hello,
Yeah.
Blue. Good morning. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up?
Actually, yeah.
That's rare. That's rare.
Yesterday I woke up at 3:30 our time, which meant you were probably awake.
Oh yeah. It was 2.
Oh, I was absolutely
Nothing,
awake.
Yeah.
I should text you
I was
next
absolutely
time.
awake. I was
It was early
still working
evening.
on stuff.
No foul, alright?
Yeah, I was only like 6 hours into my workday by then.
Action.
Oh god, but yeah, it's. I think that was actually the night where like I sat down to work at like
I brought him down
11,
here so he
and
could
then
see
I
our mom's
stood
stuff.
up at
That's it,
5,
he had
and I was
nothing to
like,
do with
why does
this.
my leg hurt so much? Oh, I haven't moved in 6 hours.
I'm telling you that this is all on me.
So that was benefits of hyper focusing,
Your
man. I
mother.
get so much done.
Stuff. Yeah, that journal.
Yeah, this is one example of, you know, Sam being a noble person in the places where it counts, because he does really care about Drake and is willing to put himself on the line. But could you have done this in less than half an hour of gameplay?
Mm-hmm.
I could have shot you.
And even then, it's like, narratively speaking, what
you
is
mind?
this scene teaching us, and where should those lessons have been put in the story?
Yeah.
And in this
It's
case,
teaching
it's like,
you that
yeah,
this
Sam.
woman has no qualms about shooting small children.
Yeah. She's been around the block too many times
You
to
knew
care
her
about
mom?
human life.
What is she, a cop?
Who's the girl that
There, I
doesn't
said it.
sound like
I said
red?
it.
Not red.
As I'm sure you've noticed.
What?
Someone
said-
said,
I'm a
oh sorry,
collector
what-
of souls.
blue,
Go ahead.
blue. Okay, I said, someone said,
That's
who's the
sort
girl
of an
that
understatement.
doesn't sound like red? And I said, not red. Not indigo
like
either.
Yeah,
Keep guessing,
obviously.
friends. Keep going.
Oh god, watching the comments on Pope fights with when we had the picture of me and Indigo fencing, and someone's like, "Wait," and a lot of people are getting confused about Indigo and Cyan. Indigo is also somebody who I met on the fencing team. However, Indigo and Cyan are not the same person.
No.
I recognize that OSP deep lore is complicated, but there's.
The
Ultimately
problem
not
is
too much to
apparently
it.
we are all the same
Happened a long
female.
time ago.
We need to get
Yeah.
more. We need Magenta to come in and
Of
be
all her
another vocal
discoveries.
male, so we can have male confusion as well.
This
The funny thing
Or
is,
get,
you actually
yellow
know
or
so
one of the
many girls
greens.
who fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, I only took it like for 2 years in high
Greatness
school,
from
so I
small beginnings.
definitely am nowhere near
So Francis
actually
Drake's
good at
motto.
it. But like, you can just kind of like categorize everyone in your life by
Latin and
how much
historical
they can
figures.
fence and
Yeah.
what
Those
style.
were our dinner conversations.
Can this person beat me in a sword fight or not?
Oh, someone said they loved Pope fights, and that's how they got a friend into OSP.
Oh, hey!
Hey!
Sir
I had a
Francis
lot of
Drake
fun with
Pope
Pope
fights
fights.
is fun.
That was good.
I
That was a
love
good episode of
seeing
Pope
you-
fights.
You're from the first time you made a Pope fight video where you're like, is this sacrilegious? I'm like, no, you're fine, to now when you're like, and screw the Pope, am I right?
Like, alright, listen up, fuckos. This is what Borgia was up to in 1502 before he died.
Woo!
I guess that's
I
It
have
is
an,
amazing
I
that
have a
Julius
video
is
in
responsible
progress.
for the entire Vatican tourism
Did
circuit.
Indigo also break your
Thank you.
sword? I don't think so.
No, Indigo's never broken a sword.
No.
She needs to get on Cyan's level of sword breakery.
All these girls are just extensions of the one female Megamind. There is only one female. You know what? You're right. Because speaking for all
Yeah.
women.
Cyan, as someone who speaks for all women, what do you have to say about speaking for all women?
Well, you see, speaking for all women speak for all women. Clearly. Clearly that we can't possibly have different opinions.
It is she, the strong
Yeah, so,
female character.
Since when was
It
there
is
lore?
her that all products are for her.
My favorite is still the Burberry
You
ad
found
for
a way in.
Burberry Her, otherwise known as Herbury.
Trust
Burberry.
you can see us.
God.
Wait, who's Magenta? Shh. You must learn the lore.
We have other
Yeah.
people who aren't necessarily part of the channel,
Sorry
but
about
are
the
It's
our
almost like
friends.
we have social lives.
Yeah, and basically, like, the reason the colors exist is so we don't just name drop everybody 24 hours a day. So, like, if there's a
Yeah,
person who
because
we
the
would
internet
bring
can be
up in
kinda
conversation, like a sibling, a fiance, oh, a dead woman, we refer to them as
Wait,
colors.
which one's dead?
The
Wait,
woman
what?
in the
Who's
game.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Oh,
you,
that's right.
you were talking about us, and then you said
Sorry.
a dead woman.
Sorry, I thought you were looking at the screen
I'm
because
like,
she just
who's
collapsed
dead?
very dramatically. But when we have,
Yeah,
you know,
we need to get the
siblings,
hell outta here.
fiancés, and friends who we want to talk about without, you know,
we can
outing
do
their
for
names,
we have
we
to
just give them a
warn the
color
cops
as a
find us
shorthand.
here
So that's
today.
why, you know, we have
Yeah, we
the
gotta
whole
go.
system that we do.
Right
It's
now.
not like it's, you know, it's a super codified, you know, official, like, pantheon. It's like there's red and blue who make the videos, there's Indigo who edits, and if you just watch the channel, you know, in normal capacity, that's all you need to know.
Yep.
Everything else is just live streams and, you know, OSP personal life that is ultimately not that important to your enjoyment of bits and histories. This is the part of the mission where this, or this is the part where this part of the game, fuck, words, it gets dumb. It's the most slapsticky police chase ever.
Someone wants
Yeah,
to know
that's
what
the thing.
color Cthulhu is.
Green. One of the greens. One of my roommates.
When in doubt, probably green.
Yeah,
This
statistically
is the
green.
thing that bugs me about this whole scene. It's like, I guess it's supposed to be like, oh, if she hadn't just up and died, maybe she could have helped you boys out. And it's like, yeah, she could have, but that didn't happen. So you just took like a field trip through a big old set piece, and then, we appear to be having a rather significant amount of rain outside my house right now.
Uh-oh.
Really?
I don't know if you guys are hearing that.
Yeah, no.
Not really.
Come on.
It's a case of, in writing structure, if your plot progresses because something happens and then, it's probably pretty arbitrary. But if your plot progresses, you know, something happens because that's cause and effect, as opposed to the Drake brothers went to this lady's house, and then this lady died. There's no logical cause and effect, so it feels arbitrary.
Okay.
And that's, you know, a major reason that this part of the story feels so dumb. In addition to everything else we were complaining about, the, like, important plot point here is that they went into this lady's house and then are suspected of murder because she died, ignores the point where it's like, she just randomly died in, you know, jeez, help me out, Sam, where are we going? Like, these cops are just
like,
standing there.
Go, go, go!
And it's like, what's the lesson here? The lesson is, life ain't fair, and the kids have been on the run from the law before, and it's like, what? Yeah, you're doing illegal treasure hunting across international borders. Obviously, you don't really care for that much for the law.
Those dumbasses were just fully standing there.
Told you not to run.
Ah, all I had to do was stand in place for 10 seconds, and then I got caught. Ugh, jeez.
Also, just wanted to point out 2 very nice comments. Someone said, thank you, Red, for helping them come to terms with their asexuality, and thank you, Blue, for helping them figure out that they only majored in math because they were good at it, and helping them learn how to do history as a job.
Oh, shit.
Nice. Thank you for that comment. That's really sweet. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, Simon, for pulling this up. It's easy to miss comments in the sea of comments. But thank you to those 2 commenters, and also just anybody who takes the time to, you know, if you have that experience, to share it, because we try to read as many of the comments as we can, but, you know, there's a lot of people in an audience of over 1 million, so it's hard to keep up with everything. But even if we might not necessarily read it, we really appreciate you, you know, sharing those experiences with us. It really does mean a lot. So thank you for sharing that.
All right, hold on tight.
And
The spoiler alert, the video that's coming out this week is a very special Pride Month anthology video. But I partially made it because there's a kid I ran into at a convention a couple years ago, and then again last year. And a couple years ago, he was like, "Hey, I like your channel." And then last year, he was like, "Hey, because of your channel, I could come out to my parents as gay. Can you do a Pride Month video?" And I was like, "Oh, I mean, yes." So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like much to just kind of be myself as loudly as I'm comfortable with being, but evidently it does help people, and that can be really nice to kind of just be aware of. That, you know,
representation
just by existing.
Yeah, exactly. In various forms, it's important to be able to see a part of yourself in someone that you look up to. So, like, having, you know, female superheroes, black superheroes, it doesn't seem like a lot to the core comic book audience of white boys, but, you know, for the people who always felt like this was a medium not for them, you know, when a kid can go to the movies and see, you know, someone who kind of looks like them, you know, up on the poster, that's a big fucking deal. And it's important even in a smaller capacity for people to, you know, use their platform to show, like, look, I exist. If you feel like you identify with any part of my identity, you know, let my existence help you to feel valid and not alone in your experience. And that's, you know, it's really important. So even just the simplest thing can go a long ways. And you know, for me, I'm a very well-represented demographic in media, so I don't always feel like I'm contributing to, you know, representation, but that's why I try to focus in on specific things that I can contribute to, like, you know, historical awareness and that kind of stuff, because even though my personal, like, immediate experience of me behind Blue is a, you know, very privileged. This train is honking in the middle of my. Someone is in the way of that train, and they're gonna get fucking smushed. But even though, you know, I've had a very privileged upbringing as a, you know, white male in America, I like being able to use this platform to support and show other parts of the world that, you know, aren't as well represented. So even though that's not my background, I like being able to, you know, look at something new and try to use historical awareness to make up for what my own personal background doesn't let me identify with. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, I don't think you need to make up for anything, but
became
Yeah, but like, there's also
explorers,
just growing up. You know, you're not
adventurers.
exposed to. We're lucky living in an
Mostly
age where there's the
thieves.
internet. 'Cause I feel
Okay,
like you're
just hold
exposed
still.
to a lot
Yeah.
more things. Like growing up, the one thing I always bring up is like in my town, you were either
if we weren't
like
taking turns going to jail
Christian,
just because we were in jail together.
Jewish, or Muslim. Or you could be atheist. Like the word agnostic didn't even come into my vocabulary
lost it.
until I was in high school, because that was like something that we just didn't really discuss. So like having the internet, it's really nice because
didn't
you
wanna
can
bring
learn
that
like
up
new
again.
phrases. You can learn about various groups of people that you don't have direct contact with, and I just feel like it's a great opportunity. I think you guys do a good job of bringing awareness
That's
to
it.
both historical and mythology things, but
Now you
also
know
more
everything.
modern social issues.
With you, I doubt.
I think
that
it's
that's
interesting
everything.
because I mean, I don't think
But-
it'll exactly surprise anyone to know that I have never
It's a lot.
particularly felt like I was strictly normal or within the bounds
know
of
what
what
you're thinking.
society expected me to be as a person. I mean, there's
I'm
you know,
thinking that
just
you're
even the
lucky
way that I
found
like
you when I
look
did.
and sound is kind of outside the bounds of like what a lot of people expect sometimes. And then
I'm glad
you know,
you didn't lose a
I'm
limb or
ace.
anything.
I don't
It would have
particularly
been a royal pain
like,
getting you out of here.
whatever my romantic orientation
you,
is.
uh,
I think that
find
everyone
me
is
anyway?
pretty, so whatever's
Oh, yeah,
happening there is
easy,
happening
just
there. And these
follow
are
the
all
sound of
things that
gunfire.
don't really ever
Well, I
get
mean,
talked
how did you
about. At least they didn't when
get
I was
here?
younger. So I just kind of grew up with this awareness that
Of course.
whatever I was doing,
Come
I
in,
was
Sully.
doing it wrong. Like, oh, you know, everyone was like, yeah, you're gonna grow up and then you're gonna marry
Oh,
some
you know,
guy and
he's
then you're gonna
banged
have a
up, but
bunch of
he's
kids and
alive,
then you're
powerful
probably gonna,
horse.
I don't know, die eventually. And I was like,
Now we just need to rescue the
I mean,
other
do I have?
Drake.
Okay, I mean, I guess if that's what I have to do, and then eventually, I don't even
Oh, let
remember
me
how
tell
I
you.
ran into the term ace, but I was like, holy fuck, that's an option,
how?
and I think that's
Right.
the thing, like, you grow up and you're like, it's
Race
not
gun.
like you think, oh man, if only there
where
were
they are?
another way, because
Yeah.
in
they're
order to
headed the
conceive of
northern
that,
side
you
of the
have to
island.
conceive
See if
that
you can find a place to
the
set down.
reality
over
that's
there.
being
Once
laid
we
out in
get
front of
Sam,
you
we're
is
gonna need
just
to get out of
one
here
way
pretty quick.
and not
Copy
the
that.
way.
Hey,
So when they
what
lay
about
out
the
your
treasure?
life trajectory in front of you, and you're like, that
Yeah.
doesn't seem very comfortable, but I mean, I
You don't
guess
need
if that's it,
But Alcazar.
and then you know
There is
nowadays
no
with the internet
Alcazar.
and all these resources and
all
all these
bullshit.
people, there are just a
you
million
mean
other ways for you to
the
just
depth,
exist. And
escape?
obviously,
Sam
you
made
would
it
be
all up.
existing regardless. But now you can actually
What an
know
asshole, right?
like who you are and how you work and why you're
Look,
like
I'll fill
this.
you
For
in on
instance,
everything
I don't
when
even
I
know if
see
I'm
you,
making sense
okay?
at this point, but you know,
Yeah,
it's just
can't
like.
wait. Look, you two be safe down there.
Dialogue heavy scene, so I'm going to.
You know us.
Ah.
attempt
Yeah, the problem is
to-
if you turn desktop
Treja.
audio or audio input capture too far down, you actually lose on microphone.
Thanks.
Huh.
See?
Sure.
Why is OBS so
No,
hard?
I mean,
You
Yeah.
know, it's just one
Thanks
of
the-
those days,
for
but
saving me.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't know
But
about
yeah.
the term asexual either. I mean, even bisexual was like a bit of a weird, uncommon term when
Yeah.
I was in high school. So, you know, you
Mhm.
learn a lot, like, growing and meeting different people
Again.
in different communities, because I had a very similar experience where someone was like, oh yeah, this is asexuality.
I almost
Oh,
didn't this
I
time.
didn't realize people, like, actually found people attractive and didn't just learn based on what
Yeah.
other people said was attractive. I just thought
Come
that's
on.
interesting, you know, you read a magazine and it
I got
said,
us a
like,
ride.
these people are attractive, and you're like, I guess that's just the truth, ain't it? Like,
Yep. I mean, fashion trends come and go, so clearly that's also how people. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Everyone's just pretending.
And that's
Yeah.
where Ray
Yeah, exactly. And
treasure's probably
yeah,
there.
turns out some people actually
Need
look
to
at people and
save
be like,
Sam before
heck
they
yeah.
find it.
So,
Okay, is
but that's
this?
the thing, you know, when you.
Is this better?
I don't know.
I just
It's
turned down the
probably
game and turned us back up. Look,
It'll
guys,
probably be
I'm
fine.
sorry. It's really hard to audio level when OBS really does not make it easy to
Also,
figure out
it
which
seems like
channel's actually
OBS
affecting
keeps
what.
changing our levels.
Yeah, OBS is going rogue. I think maybe one of the options that it reset to was like auto changing.
Auto balance.
There-
yeah, which
there
it's
could be an auto
auto-balancing
balance in
it
there.
Too fucked. So.
Look.
Huh, okay.
there. I borrowed it from
But,
the shoreline.
Let me see if I can find an
slid
auto
all the
balance
way down from
OBS thing.
Yeah, it was the quickest way to
Ooh,
get down
uh-oh.
Oh no, oh no, oh
Here,
no.
I got it.
Figure out
What up?
another way back.
Screen decided that it wanted to be dragged.
Oops.
Boost me up with
Is that us or is
Well,
that the
that's
game?
unhelpful.
Yeah. Here.
Wait. it sounds like I've conquered the stream again, or
Oh.
else that's been rebalanced.
Well, part of
Not
it.
again.
No, it's okay. It's better now.
Okay.
Part of it
Okay,
is
alright,
friends.
alright, never mind.
I have a really hoarse voice right now, so that's why it sounds like I'm yelling into a wall. My vocal cords are not having the best of days. OBS is a meanie.
OBS is a meanie.
Yeah, it's rough. They're saying the game is even louder now. I don't know how that's even possible.
No, the game is fine. The game is fine.
Okay, alright. In that case, stop talking about it in the chat, because we're not gonna pay attention. Anyway. What were we saying?
Did it get hotter, or am I just more stressed?
No, it's warm.
Oh. I'm turning the fan up to 3. Audio be fucked.
Alright, but yeah, in short, like, I know that a lot of people brush off, like, oh, representation matters, because it's very easy to brush that concept off if you have never experienced what a total lack of representation can do to you, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
if you grow up without ever knowing that something is possible, even if you are a living example of that thing, it takes a while to figure that stuff out. And if
Yeah.
nobody's showing you the different ways to exist, it's really hard to, like, how many people have actually done only introspection and thought to themselves, I believe that I exist in a way that is fully impossible according to the worldview I have been taught since birth? And how many people have seen someone outside of themselves and thought, oh my god, wait, I can relate to that person. I feel something in myself like that person. Holy shit, that's what I am. Like, that's why representation, that's why representation is important, because it gives you examples to compare yourself against and to realize who you're actually comfortable being. And honestly, like, you know, growing up, I had a lot of phases of like, oh, well, maybe I should try to do this, maybe I should try to do that, maybe I should try dating boys again, maybe that would work again. And then after a while, it's like, no, you know what? I'm just not gonna do anything that I am wildly uncomfortable with. I'm gonna not go out with people if I don't want to, and I'm gonna wear only clothes that I think are comfortable, and I'm gonna look how I want to look. And then after a while, I just got so comfortable with that it stopped feeling like a rebellious statement. And then there's people who are like, hey, you're existing in a way that makes me happy and figuring out more stuff about myself. And I'm like, really? I'm just sitting here, man. But
I was gonna say, this self-actualization is
just
brought
like-
to you by Pants Gang.
I like dresses. Yeah, I don't know. I'm the opposite. I like dressing oftentimes in what is considered a fairly stereotypical feminine stuff. I have a lot of more vintagey style tops and skirts because that's what I like to do. You know,
Yeah,
not
and
because
there's
that's what
nothing wrong with that.
society says you have to wear. It just, I find it comfortable and I like how it looks. And people find comfort in different things, friends. It's okay.
Yeah. For me, it's always been that, like, I have never liked the feeling that if I pose wrong or stretch wrong, the outfit is just gonna fall apart on me.
No, that's
and
fair.
there's like a lot of feminine styles and clothing that just feels so like fragile, or it's just like it's form-fitting, but if you lean over, it like rides 5 inches up or whatever. And I just really hated feeling like that, like feeling like I couldn't even move in what I was wearing. So I ended up just getting more comfortable clothing and like tank tops that I can actually stretch in, that I won't need to worry about ripping the sleeves off of, and like guy pants because they have pockets and I can actually stand in them, and you know, just stuff like that. And it was just a matter of personal comfort and flexibility. And once I got that sorted out, I was like, wow, wearing clothing is no longer just a chore that I have to sort out and like handle. But it's all about personal comfort and aesthetic, and you know, like, if I was fully based on practicality and eschewing feminine things, I would not have 3 feet of hair on my head.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about the look you want and how comfortable you are. And once you sort of start getting a feel for your own comfort and start making adjustments to your life based only on what makes you happy, you are going to be so much happier overall. Anyway, that was quite a talk.
People do things that make them comfortable and do what makes you comfortable, friends, even if it's not what makes other people comfortable or what you don't, not what you think stereotypically you should have to do. You don't
that's
have
the other
to do
thing, like-
anything you don't want to except for eat food and sleep.
Yep.
2 big
And
ones.
shower. You also probably should shower.
Yeah, you should probably.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could take a bath instead, but like clean yourself.
Yeah, baths are also fine. Yeah, clean yourself. Trust me.
Clean yourself.
It's not worth the alternative.
If you think you don't need to shower, you're probably wrong.
Yep, I've been there. But that's the thing, like, it's interesting because when you sort of start doing that, when you start figuring out, like, what do I actually want to do and be and look like? There's this sort of fear of like, oh, but everyone's been telling me that I have to do this thing. I'm gonna upset them or disappoint them or they're gonna be mean about it. And that does happen, but it's more common for people to be like, wow, you're so unique, that's so you. And that's the thing, like, it's not about, people have like a system of things that they think are the right way to do stuff. And if you don't do those things, often they'll be like, oh no, you're confused. You have to do it this way because that's how it's done. But often if you break that mold, sometimes they'll think, no, that's not right. But sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense for you. That's so you. And that's because they know you as a person and they recognize these beautiful, unique parts of yourself that you might not even be able to see because you're you. You know, you don't really have an external perspective on yourself. So like just, there's nothing to be lost by being yourself and doing what makes you comfortable. You will be so much happier, and the people who are complaining about aren't actually complaining because of who you are really as a person. They're complaining because you aren't lining up with a vision that they think you should conform to, that has nothing to do with your actual personal comfort or happiness. So, did that make sense? I hope that made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked if work is the same way. It depends on the office or space that you work in. I work in a place where I have a lot of flexibility as to what I wear within reasons. I work a lab job, so I have to conform to lab safety things. My legs have to be covered. I have to wear closed-toed shoes. Like, I can't show up to work in like a dress and heels because my job requires me to wear a specific uniform. But I think a big thing to remember is that you think about how much you notice what other people are wearing on a day-to-day basis, especially when you're just trying to get your work done, and realize that's how much people look at you on a day-to-day basis and comment on your outfits. So like, there was a girl who I worked with who dressed very like gender neutral, and then there's me who I usually end up wearing, either jeans and a tighter fitting blouse or a dress and leggings. So, but that's also the environment that I work in. Some places aren't the same, and that's, it's, people always say, like, make sure you find a place with a good work environment. I understand that most people just want to find a job, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Take all this with a grain of salt. If you have the option, taking that into account is a really nice thing to do, just kind of seeing how, you can usually tell in an interview how people dress and act and how comfortable they feel in a company.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It is often... to put it bluntly, it's very easy to tell when people have a stick up their ass, and let that guide you.
Yeah.
Sorry, the transition from like, just remember, be yourself and make acquisitions for your own comfort, and it's like, yeah, if they got a stick up your ass, they're not worth your time, baby.
Blue taking no prisoners on this stream.
Someone said, "OMG."
This is as harsh as you'll ever get.
Yeah, seriously.
Self-care does not mean just personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is still important.
Yes, personal hygiene is an important part of self-care. I know, if everyone's in quarantine, it can be easy to sort of be like, why should I even get dressed? And also, do I really need to wash my hair? But trust me, sometimes, if you're feeling really weird and bad and you don't know why, first, when's the last time you ate? Second, wash your hair. I am serious.
Oh, and
Nothing
drink
makes
water.
you feel worse than having
Drink
a
some
greasy-
water. It's
Yes,
so
also
easy
drink
to
water.
forget if you're like me and you go to work and like drink water throughout the day to keep yourself awake, and then suddenly you're at home and you just drink, tea because it's readily available, and then you realize that
Tea has water.
Tea has water.
It's also diuretic.
Well, you still.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean caffeine is a diuretic, but you'll still be
Fuck.
getting.
I just
no.
rolled off the side of that cliff.
Wait, no, it's Lana. Oh no, Nate.
No, Nathan.
No. But yeah, tea is a diuretic, but you still get more water than you're losing with tea, and even with coffee too. However, sometimes you need just plain water.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you need water, you need food, and you really do need to clean yourself. Like, sometimes you will just be feeling like, everything is terrible, and there's no point in living, and why do I feel so bad? And it's because it's been 2 days since you shampooed, and your hair is like, kill me. So yeah, just like, it's the food, water, and cleanliness. And once you have those three things squared away, usually your body feels a lot better about just existing.
Yeah.
And go outside. Yes, if you have the ability to go outside, you can.
Yeah.
I sometimes struggle with going outside because outside is hot, and hot and I don't get along well.
In a pinch, crack a window.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Just fresh air can really help sometimes.
Yeah.
And if you're mostly nocturnal like me, you can go out for some sweet nightly walks without having to deal with the burning heat of the sun.
Ah, the sun.
Oh, Elena, don't run in front of the sights like that. It's dangerous.
Alcoholic water. No, regular water.
Yeah.
Is anyone keeping track of the amount of times Blue died? We like to not talk about it.
Yeah, there's no need to be rude, guys. Those
Let's
timelines
talk about
didn't
how
happen,
few times
obviously.
Elena has died. We're
Yeah.
being a good husband right now.
I don't think Elena can die.
Elena is
Right?
easily
Like,
the MVP of this game. Because she takes
I mean, the
so much
NPCs are
shit from Nate.
indestructible.
And she's, you know, here, she saves our ass. Elena is the VIP of the Uncharted.
To everyone's comments.
MVP.
Yeah.
MVP, that's the word.
Just remember, you're a houseplant with more complicated emotions. You just need some sun, some water, some food, and a clean place to exist.
Yep.
Oh, gee. Fuck. So that was the backwards button.
Oh, okay. Well, there's one on Elena dying.
Elena has died once, and it was my fault.
How could you, Nathan?
Everyone's talking about how alcohol stays sterile longer than water, and I want to know where you live where this is a concern for you.
Statistically, on a ship in the 1700s.
Medieval times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flint, Michigan.
When everyone's drinking
Ooh.
beer because the well water will. Oh, God.
Anyone else have a 5
Man,
FPS
I just
stream?
had- I
Yes.
just-
Sorry, we're not. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah. I just like fully dissociated back to a repressed childhood memory where I went to a medieval times for a birthday party.
Ooh.
That was a weird experience.
Someone. Well, mine's actually 4 FPS. Yes. Good for you. I also, more fun things that I didn't know. Whenever I see GG, for a long time I couldn't tell if they were saying get good or good game, so my brain just autofills good game, and I'm like, wait, no, that's definitely not what they meant.
I think
Actually, no, that is often what they mean.
Yeah,
usually
but that's not what
it's
this guy
good
meant.
game. Yeah, but sometimes it's get good.
The duality of GG.
Someone wants to know. Oh yeah, it's 100 degrees in Dallas right now. Yeah, that's why I live in the north.
Yeah, that was your first mistake, pal.
Oh God, I remember for a while, like when I was a kid, we would take these like family road trips out east in the summer, which basically meant we would be in like New York City in August, and I'd always be like, why can't I handle being outside for like more than an hour? And then more recently, I went to New York in like January, and I was like, this is way better.
Yeah.
I could just go for hours, because it turns out it doesn't matter how lightly you're dressed or how young and energetic you are. New York City is a heat island, and
Yes.
you will die if you
Yep.
are out in it for too long.
Someone asked if Cleopatra is napping. Yes, she finally got comfortable. We have a little shelf in one of the windows because we live in a basement level apartment that does have windows, so it's a good place for her to get sun. And it took her a while to become comfortable with it, probably because the first time we put her on it, one of the suction cups slipped. The thing stayed up fine, but she got like spooked. So it took a lot of turkey, but she is GG's get gorgeous.
Cute.
But so she is now taken to like napping half the day in her little sunny spot that we can't bother her because it's too high up for us to reach without like climbing up to the window.
Yeah. And then
that's
when
the
she
dream.
deigns to visit her subjects and request pets, demand
Pets and destroy the couch.
Yeah,
We love her.
She hops down. So Cyan gets back from work, and I'm like, hey, I've seen Cleo only slightly more than you've seen Cleo this morning. She's been napping up top.
Every time you mention Cleopatra, I know why you named her that, but my brain snaps back to She-Ra because one of the main characters is named Catra.
Catra, yeah.
And I'm like, I know that wasn't the intent.
The road
but
continues on the other
But-
side.
you guys should watch it if you have like, I don't know, 3 days to kill.
I live in Florida. You don't know heat. Yeah, we've also been to Florida in the summer, and it's the main reason why we don't live in Florida.
Yeah, I went to Florida in August for Disney.
That was a mistake.
That was a mistake. Should have gone any other time of year.
Yeah, why? I mean, like, Disney's, you're outside all the time. Why would you do that?
Who is not the primary color? I'm the only primary color. So.
Yeah, in actual, like, color physics, cyan is the only primary color of all of us.
Oh no, there's yellow. Physics. There's a yellow. And a magenta.
Oh, yeah, never
so
mind.
we actually have all three.
So
primary
red and I
colors.
are just the scrubs.
Unless you're going by like the paint wheel, in which case then you. Okay, yellow's clearly the superior person right here. Someone says easy solution, make Cleo a Catra costume. I have gotten her in costume once, and it was when she was high after a space surgery.
It was really funny. Cyan knitted a hat and a cape for Cleo.
She actually doesn't mind the cape. She hates the hat.
Hat was a hard sell.
Yeah, cats don't really like stuff on their face or head, which is a shame because Catra's most iconic costume element is a mask that just kind of frames her face.
Sweats in Australian. Oof.
Yeah, that's rough, buddy.
Living in Alaska, I actually don't know the heat. Ooh, I should move to Alaska.
What if we
I've
just
been
went
meaning
to
to
Canada?
travel to Alaska. Dude, the longer I'm cooped up inside, the more I want to just like take a road trip and go stargazing somewhere. And every
Go
time I run into a
do
thing,
it.
it's like, come to Alaska. It's really big. I'm like, yes, take me Alaska. I want to go see your stars and mountains. But it's also kind of far.
Google the Maxwell color wheel. I will look that up later. I just love everyone saying either, yes, the place I live is so hot, or, yeah, no, I don't know heat.
All right, let's look around.
There are two kinds of people.
Have you considered turning the weather off and on again?
How often do you visit the subreddit? I personally never visit the subreddit.
I
Red and Blue
visit-
do sometimes visit the subreddit.
Yeah, I visit the subreddit. Usually I kind of pop in every day just to see what's going on. It's a
I
lot
do
of
too.
fun cross-post memes. Oop, heck, that's the wrong button. Which
yeah.
I very much appreciate.
The
I always feel
the
kind of out of
subreddit-
place when I go on the subreddit, like, oh, they're having their own conversations, I don't want to interfere.
The subreddit Sappho and her friends
Yes.
used one of the divine frames for a meme, and I
Oh,
felt very
beautiful.
proud.
Oh, they were roommates?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Was that the one?
No. Yes, actually. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
That was the one.
Yeah, because then I did see the same thing that you had seen.
Someone posted a crude Photoshop with a picture of me in a hole, and it's labeled "Ace in the Hole." Thank you.
Oh, that's good.
Woot.
I'm proud of you guys.
Subreddit's great.
All I know is rain and wet. You guys are
Seattle?
so dramatic.
Okay.
I live in the armpit of Honduras. I love it.
Oh, that's crazy.
Joke's on you, Maine knows both. Maine's not that. It doesn't get that bad.
Depends on what part of Maine, because there's a lot of coast and there's a lot of not coast.
That's true. Coast is fine.
Now, why did we pull down this entire structure?
Uh,
So I can climb it.
Gotcha.
Of
It was
course.
the interactive thing, so we had to.
Well, the stream ended up getting a lot better after all the fuckiness resolved.
Yeah.
And then it got worse. Then it got better again.
You guys should visit Costa
Yeah.
Rica. Why?
Get hot.
I
Too
don't.
hot.
Wouldn't
I
I die?
don't like the hot. It's like this is like the last stream when everyone's like, "You should move to Florida. You should move to Texas." I'm like, I don't think you guys realize what heat intolerant means.
Yeah.
I am intolerant
Yeah.
to the heat. My body literally decides to throw a fit.
Yeah, like I planning a trip to Italy in January. I'm considering making a personal rule that I only go to hot places in winter months.
Yep. Yeah, it's weird. I'm not fully heat intolerant, but I do not do well in the heat, and the biggest problem is I cannot sleep if it's like over 75 degrees.
yeah.
Like when we took my middle school in like 8th grade took a week-long trip to Mexico, and I did not wear sunscreen once, and I did not ever get more than 3 uninterrupted hours of sleep. So I was in a bit of a state when I got back.
Oof.
I'm sure your parents were like, "Red."
Is there ever a
Yeah, no, my mom was fully like, "What did you not wear sunscreen at all? You have little blisters on your nose." And I was like, well, every morning I was like, I could take time to put on sunscreen, but that sounds boring and
Yeah.
gross and feels like it would be icky, so I'll be fine. And then I came home with like a compound sunburn, and I
Ugh.
like, because when I'm overheated, I turn really pink, so I was like, okay, I mean, of course I look really pink. It's really hot here. And then I got home and it was like 60 degrees and I was like, oh, well, I'm still kind of radioactive looking, so maybe this is a me problem?
Yeah.
It eventually went away, but I think I still have freckles from that.
Oh, it's fun. So I have multiple sisters, but two of them are very pale redhead freckly sisters. And one of them is very Italian olive sister, so we could all put on the same amount of sunscreen and get completely different degrees of sunburn. I'm pretty sure my two super pale sisters just will always be sunburned. There's no way to get around it. Red was actually red.
It just... yeah, it wasn't pleasant.
With heat, you can only take off so many layers. With the cold, you can keep adding layers.
Yep.
That is true.
More
Double
blanket.
pants.
Double pants. Double
That's a-
pants is
double
such an
pants.
effective
Double
strategy.
pants!
Yeah.
Double pants.
Yeah, like, I don't know why it's, like, considered socially acceptable to wear, like, 4 different shirts and then, like, but you're still only allowed to wear, like, 1 pair of jeans. Like, come on. You can wear multiple pairs of pants if you'd like.
Actually, I think in like some of the really cold areas or like when you're going on expeditions, it's like, yeah, okay, you need these wool leggings and then you need these pants and then maybe you need snow pants on the outside. So yeah, it's typically an extreme weather condition thing, but you can wear multiple pants. It's just kind of hard sometimes.
I mean, a lot of the winter I end up wearing, like, I have to wear knee socks every day and then I'll wear leggings and then pants when it's like down below 0 Fahrenheit. Especially back when, like, I was in college and walking.
See, the thing is, my leather jacket is like really insulated because I got it from like an actual like motorcycle warehouse distribution thing, so it has like this crazy inner lining that is just incredibly insulated, which means whenever it's winter, that's basically what I wear, and then my torso is the warmest part of me. My legs, face, and hands are completely on their own.
Yeah.
So, like, you can tell how actually cold it is, not by the coat I'm wearing, but by, like, how much I've bundled up the scarf and how low the hat is pulled down and whether I've got my gloved hands also stuffed in the pockets.
Did you not give Elena a gun?
She had a gun.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just inside the box.
Notice me, senpai. I don't know where your bagel is.
What?
Oh, man. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Ow, God, rocket launcher, rude.
Canadian death by heat stroke to death by cold. I think that's just a lot of North America. We have very untemperate climates.
Yeah. I think part of it is because it's, well, it's interesting. When you have a really big landmass, weird stuff kind of starts happening around in the middle, because around the edges, the weather is mostly determined by the ocean. That's the biggest temperature source in the area. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at like a temperature map of the planet. I don't know why you would have. This is really something that like only I care about. But
I subscribe to the map subreddit, so I get a lot of fun maps, and some of them are about temperatures.
Yeah. Well, if you have like a live one, the bodies of water stay almost completely consistent, but the landmass will like spike and then drop based on the sun. The water basically holds its temperature and the landmass does not. So if you're coastal, this can lead to basically like just the formation of storms and the temperature gradient. So you just get weather based on like sometimes what time of day it is. Like there's like valleys in Spain where it's always like pea soup fog in the morning, stuff like that, because it's just based on like the temperature differential, the shadows of the sun. But then if you're far enough inland, it just kind of starts being kind of its own thing. It's a very different setup, and this is among other things why you get deserts forming around 30 degrees.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I could go on about this for a while. I took like a year class about this.
Yeah.
But America is a really big old stretch of nothing, which means that in most places the temperature is determined by what time of day it is. And if you're a city on the Great Lakes, this actually doesn't affect you as much, because it's like, well, the water that's right there doesn't change temperature. So like in the height of summer, it can be like 110 degrees, and like Lake Michigan is 50 degrees. And then in the dead of winter, it's like negative 15 degrees, and the lake is 50 degrees.
This is all in Fahrenheit, by the way.
Oh yeah, sorry,
units.
Fahrenheit. We are Americans.
Cursed measuring
But yeah,
system.
it's a
people-based
measuring like the bodies of water take months to change. And I remember it was interesting. When we were in high school, actually, there was that field trip to Galena, which is like this tiny little town in central Illinois.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Actually, yeah, we were.
It's like, yeah, it's like 85% artisanal fudge shops and stuff.
Yes.
And
Bless.
we were there for a ski trip in the winter, and we'd gone into town for like this shopping excursion, and all the shops were like kind of closing on their own time because it was like a small town. It was all privately owned. None of them were franchised, so some of them like closed up the shop the minute we left. It's like, what's going on? And then there was one where it was like, oh, don't you know, storm's coming. And it's like, what? And it hit like -60 that night. So that's what happens if you're outside the comforting shadow of Lake Michigan. Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are we going? Explosions. Heck.
Oof.
Since I can't actually hear anything in this game, it's kind of hard to figure out what's going on.
Someone said, fudge, and like, I feel that. I think I might make a berry pie though, because we have some berries that need to be used up. We have some blackberries, some blueberries, and some raspberries.
Actually, if anyone's in the mood for fudge, but they don't want to sit and watch it not crystallize for 3 hours, it's a really simple recipe for fake fudge. I think I've mentioned this before. You take equal parts chocolate and sweetened condensed milk, and you melt the chocolate in a double boiler, and then you pour the sweetened condensed milk into it, and you mix it with a spatula, and then you just lay it out to cool, and it's basically just pure fudge. It's actually way more chocolatey than real fudge, so
Beautiful.
highly recommend.
Sorry, I'm very tired today.
Yeah. I think we might
we're all
call
a
it
little...
at the 5 o'clock hour.
It's
we're
hot.
getting up
it's
there.
tired.
Yeah. Short stream, everybody. Oh well.
Yeah.
We might be back on Thursday for a Rome history tour stream to kind of coincide with Pope fights. Again, we were gonna do it last week, but then we decided best to step back and let more important voices be heard. So if you haven't already donated your time, there are YouTube videos that you can watch where the ad proceeds go to causes that support the black communities around America and the world. Joe Cat, all of his channel revenue for the next 3 months, I think he said, is going to various BLM related causes. Joe Cat, absolute legend. If you're not watching his stuff, you really should be. Oh, I'm stuck. But yeah, important time to not stay idle and at the very least learn. If you do nothing else, learn how the world works and why things are the way they are. That's the most important step to eventually getting into a point where it's better. Avoid driving against whitewater. Well, I'm trying, game.
Somebody.
Oh no.
Somebody.
You
Okay,
guys, we're
can I
gonna
go
get
there?
content ID'd.
Probably.
What?
Hang on.
Can we? Yep.
Whoa,
Heck.
hang on.
What? Hit. There we go. Cool.
There.
Why are you messaging me?
We're getting there.
You didn't happen to bring us some spare clothes, did you?
I did.
Great.
They're on the plane.
Not great.
There's one cool cutscene that I want to try and get to,
We can drive through the sluice gate.
and then I think it might be a good point to call it
Nap time. Nap time.
nap time, and then I can go take a run to CVS.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
prepaid for the prescription.
Cool.
You just have to pick them up.
Where the heck am I going? Oh, do I need to get out? Oh, I think I need to get out of the car.
The best part is that we're actually gonna have to go back tomorrow because
Oh,
apparently
heck.
our CVS is out of EpiPens.
Oh,
Oh.
whack.
Yeah, that's okay. They said they'll be able to get me one tomorrow.
Ah, okay. That's not too bad.
No.
Do I go through here? Ah, yes.
Oh man.
Here we go.
Classic winch strategy.
This game picks interesting times to do like slow contemplative stuff and interesting times to just swing back into the action with a fun car scene.
Loading screens, man. Loading screens.
I do remember that when I first played this section, and you know, it's like, oh my god, Sam was playing me, oh, I've been thrown off a cliff and hit my head and am now hallucinating a gameplay section. I was kind of expecting it to be like a return to the level of contemplative, oh no, that happened when you get like shipwrecked on the island and you're kind of fucked up and you can't even do your normal climbing stuff. And then instead, it's like, Elena's here, everything's all right. Let's do a fun car section with the winch again. And I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Hold on, isn't your brother like dead as far as you know? Why are you just chill with this?
Yep, it's weird pacing. I wouldn't be surprised if something got either added or cut late in development, and they just kind of had to go with it, because that happens in a lot of cases of game design where they build a lot of stuff and it's like, oh, we actually we can't finish this, so get rid of it and make it work. Fit the other two pieces together.
Also, to commentary Gabby. No, you were right. It is bap time, not nap time.
What is happening?
Oh, I'm just making noises into the mic.
Oh, okay.
Alright, time to drive, because this gate is good. Apparently the last gate wasn't. Where is the elevator car cutscene? That's a really fun part of the game that I like a lot. Oh well. Well, if it's not in like 5 minutes, then I think, then I think that'll be where we cease from streaming.
You need to get more speed. Okay, Elena. Why don't
I don't
you
have any
drive?
drugs on me. There we go.
It's hard enough smuggling myself across the border.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh, finally, a Journey to the West question that isn't awful. Someone bought the book and wanted to know how long it took you to read it, so they know how long it's going to take them to read it.
Oh.
Ooh, okay. Well, I mean, if you're reading it to yourself, honestly, you can probably get through it in like... Oh, it's really hard to... It's hard for me to gauge this because usually when I start reading books, I physically can't stop myself until they're done. So it's like... That's probably kind of a shorter estimate than maybe someone reading it at a more healthy pace. But I mean, it's like 100 chapters, but the translation's really good and it flows quite well, and it's very engaging, so you'll probably just get through it in like a week, maybe a little longer. Because turns out when you're not narrating or animating it, it's pretty fast.
We're not producing content. It's actually easy to read through stuff.
Yeet the car.
Yeet that car.
Also, someone else said Bab Time. Bab Time also sounds great, but I don't plan on getting Bab today. There's actually a restaurant not too far from us just called Bab.
It's great. Nap time, nap time. There's a lot of... come on.
Oh, it's time.
Work.
And we're up.
We talked about a lot of stuff on this stream after we got the audio working. All we had to do was completely mute the game.
Well, that was what people were telling us to do earlier. They were like, we're
Yeah.
here for you guys, and I was like, some of you are here for us, but some people probably want to see the game.
Let's see. What is this?
Probably
Who
the
lived there? Probably
elevator,
the elevator keeper person. Yeah. Honestly, sometimes that's what archaeology is like. It's like, oh, this is this is a house for ritual purposes, which is code for we don't know what the fuck was going on in here.
Everything's a ritual if you know too little about it.
One of my teachers in college described the stupidity of archaeologists who rely on ritual purposes, and also in like completely denying the possibility that people could have fought wars in previous times. Oh, nice camera cut to match the fact that Elena was not currently in the Jeep. Where it's like, yes, you know, in previous times everybody was peaceful and the world was fine. So this person who has an axe, no, that's a ritual hand axe. That's not actually for fighting. It's like, guys, who are you trying to fool?
You know, it's interesting. There's kind of this subsection of archaeology trying to figure out how ancient cultures viewed and or mapped the stars. And I was telling you about this, because there's a lot of like Neolithic and ancient art that might be representing constellations, and it's always a little bit tricky because in most cases, if you take a star map, you can kind of wiggle it around until there are bright stars coinciding with any piece of art because it's a near random scattering.
Yeah.
But there are some things where it's like, okay, enough of these are lining up. Like, it's probably some. Oh god, there's this like carved pillar in Turkey that's like from 10,000 BC that just looks like it's got a random assortment of animals in like a ball. But someone pointed out, hey, if you put this ball at the North Star, all of these animals line up with like major known constellations. And where they would have been at a time when there was a catastrophic meteor impact that would have affected the world's weather. And it was like, wait, was this a way for them to time keep? Because when you don't have anything else and you're trying to record when something happened, saying what the sky looked like at the time is a pretty good way to do it. And, you know, the sky has basically always been there, and for all of human history has been roughly the same, or like layout, arrangement. So it's possible, but how much of it is a conspiracy theory and how much of it is genuinely a thing?
Yeah.
And there's something interesting, actually. Some of you might actually know about this. So in France, there's this cave system called the Caves of Lascaux, and they have just a ton of cave paintings in them, like of all shapes and sizes. There's a bunch of them. And the interesting thing is that they were all actually done at different times, like by different groups of people, it seems. Like the first group there painted a shitload of horses, and then a later group painted a shitload of bulls and stuff like that. And you can tell because like the paint is layered, and also they were painted with different techniques. And it's just all very interesting. But there's this one hall where there's like, well, sorry, I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole, but there's this one section where there's like a painting of something that they call a unicorn, even though it is a kind of horse thingy that has two horns, and then there's a bunch of other horses in front of it, and then there's like a big speckled bull, and then there's like another bull facing them. And that hall, some people think is a prehistoric star map. They think if you put the unicorn at Capricorn, all of the other constellations roughly line up, and the bull that's facing them is Taurus, and like the stampede of horses is Sagittarius and stuff like that. And it's possible. But the most interesting part is that the horses were painted first, and then someone went in and added the bulls and also added the horns to that horse.
Right, I'm going to stop you for a second, because this is a really cool part of the game where if you actually listen to the music, I'm going to stop talking for a second. It's good music.
Ooh.
Hopefully, you guys can actually hear it.
Oh, I mean, they've been saying the game audio is still too loud, so...
Oh, well, good. Well, I hope you can hear it. But this is like the big emotional crux of the game where Elena and Nate actually kind of address what's been wrong between them. And I think, Red, you often talk about how, and we've talked about this on previous streams, where writers refuse to write couples as couples because it's easier to write people getting into couples or write people getting out of couples, but actually like writing a relationship is really, really hard. And I think this is a really great example of that in a game. And there's that little like minute and a half of quiet drive after they're like, hey, you almost didn't come back. Why did you? And Elena's like, oh, you know, marriage vows for better or worse. It's good writing. What the hell is... Oh, okay, this
That's
one.
good writing.
Yeah. Take a shot every time.
But yeah, sorry, not to continue harping on Lascaux. But the weird thing is, like, if you look up Lascaux, which is Lascaux, I think, and then unicorn, you'll see this image of this kind of weird, chunky-looking triangular boy with a couple horns. And then if you look Capricorn star, it honestly really is the same shape. And I was like looking through the star maps, and it's like, okay, yeah, you know, Sagittarius is kind of this weird random assortment of stars, and there actually have been historical cultures that don't draw lines between stars and constellations. They view the individual stars as like individual animals. Oh god, I think it's the constellation Auriga. Has some people see it as like every star in that area is a goat, and there's a guy who herds those goats. And that's the deal with Auriga. So, you know, there's precedent for Sagittarius not being a dude who is kind of horsey, but instead being a fuckload of horses. Anyway, it's all very interesting, and but then like sometimes the theories go a little farther. Like we think these individual dots show individual stars, and it's like, or the paintbrush slipped. I don't know, maybe. Or somebody sneezed too close to it. Who knows? But I think the most interesting part about this is if you look up the stuff about Lascaux, like there's all this information about it, but it hasn't been like put together. So everyone knows that the people who painted these things were different groups of people painting them at different times. And then they also say, here's the unicorn. All of the body was painted with this specific method where they like blow paint out through a little reed straw, except for the horns, which were added with a brush. And nobody says, therefore, someone painted a horse, and then later someone came back in to paint a bunch of bulls, and they tried to make this horse look like a bull.
wasn't
which
trying
is
to protect you.
clearly what happened, which is neat. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's just,
sorry.
I made a promise that I was done.
So many thoughts. This is what happens when I don't get enough sleep. I can't stop talking.
Yeah, well, that's why we have jobs, Red.
Hey!
That's what this whole deal is about. All right, after this cutscene, I think that's gonna do us.
Sounds good.
More dramatic dialogue of them talking, trying to figure out what's up with their life. It's always the case of, oh, I thought I was protecting you, but I was really protecting myself. Tale as old as time. Yeah. And then interestingly, Elena keeps on, like, whenever they're almost at something, Elena's like, nope, let's put this away. Let's pick this up later.
Yeah.
Elena, you know, gets towards the point of the conversation, but like right before that moment of breakthrough's about to happen, it's like, oh, okay, you know, we're done. Let's talk about this another time, which is what Drake did to Nate, or no, what Drake did to Sam.
What Drake did to Nate.
What Nate did, the same fucking brothers. What Nate did to Sam earlier on, when they were on the little islands. So yeah.
Right.
All right. I think that's gonna be a stream. Any other last thoughts before we go? I'll probably pick this up another time, but later this week, stay tuned for probably the Running Around Rome and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood tour.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just glad we got this working eventually.
Oh my god, yeah. Sorry about all the technical difficulties. Hopefully next time OBS doesn't decide to start me from scratch. And if it does, hopefully we'll be better at fixing it. Again, I know we kind of get upset when it's like, stream too loud, too quiet, things not working. It's like, there's only so much we can do. But thank you for bearing with us. If you haven't already, please consider donating something, anything, even $1 helps to one of the causes listed below, whether it's for legal assistance, education, and empowering Black communities, trying to help with the adverse effects of COVID that have disproportionately hit Black communities in America. Anything you can do to educate yourself and help the people who really need it will go a long way. So do consider taking some of your time to do that. So
Heck yeah.
Cyan has briefly made herself scarce, but I'm sure she would say bye. So yeah, that's us. We will see you guys next time. Later.
Next time. Bye.